Couple of days ago, Google had an outage. And this outage pretty much affected all the services that they provide. Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Google Maps, YouTube, including Google's internal work chat was totally affected. At the very beginning, I was just trying to watch another YouTube video, but I couldn't load the video. Instead, this quirky little monkey just showed up and saying, oops, without any other useful information. I was confused. I was like, okay, did I do something naughty with my Google account and Google banned me from using it? So I checked out some forums and talked to some friends, and turns out it was not just me. People all around the globe was experiencing the same thing. And a lot of them were just as confused as me. Because when was the last time that Google didn't work for you and it was not the problem on your side? That's why when people found out, they were outrageous. And we got some pretty intense comments like this one.
Just got a text from a kid's school saying Gmail is down to use the school's direct email. Immediate reaction was, Google isn't down, you idiots. The problem is on your end. Go to check Gmail. Yep, it's down.
Of course, after around 45 minutes, everything went back to normal. But this got me thinking, what if it was not just Google, but someday in the near future, the global internet all of a sudden goes down completely? What would happen after that? Hello, I'm Adam. Actually, the likelihood of the global internet to go down is actually very, very slim. So, in order for our imaginary scenario to play out, we need to give it a cause that would definitely work. How about we blame it to Thanos? Let's say one day after dinner, Thanos just went out for a walk around the neighborhood, and this tiny little rock caught his eyes. He's never seen anything like this before, so he picked it up and put it into his glove and then snapped his finger. Poof! Of course, nothing would happen around him, but millions of light years away, we don't have internet on the earth anymore. Obviously, the people who are using the internet at the very moment are going to be the first ones to find out. The Netflix shows you're watching are going to freeze. If you're watching a YouTube video, the loading circle will pop up. If you're trying to open a new web page in the Chrome browser, well, the cute little dinosaur will show up and ready to play. If you're a Safari user, well, thanks to Steve Jobs, all you can get is just some tedious text. And besides that, most people would not suspect it was a global internet outage at first, simply because the internet has never been down before. So, after failing to refresh new web pages, the next rational things to do is actually to check your local devices. For example, restarting Wi-Fi, restarting your cell phones, and check your cell phone signals as well. But of course, nothing would work. People would get very confused, and they would stay confused for a while. In most cases, confusion is actually not that bad, but only if you have ways to figure out what is going on. In our scenario, the global information distribution system is completely shut down. The main channels people rely on to receive information, as well as communicating with others, are completely cut off. They are gonna be thrown out of their comfort zone immediately without any explanation. Their confusion would turn into anxiety very soon, and we're gonna have a lot of anxious people. Of course, we're not gonna lose all our communication channels. People can fall back onto more traditional ways of communication, for example, face-to-face, which is something most people don't do anymore, and making phone calls and sending out text messages. But, have you ever been to a very, very crowded place and tried to make phone calls? Well, I did. A couple of years ago, I was back in Shanghai celebrating the New Year's Eve with my friends, but the streets were so packed by people that we didn't even have cell phone signals. In our scenario, the telecom systems all around the globe would be so overwhelmed by the sheer amount of requests. Most phone calls would never be connected, and most text messages would be delivered very, very slowly, if they get delivered at all. But most of us only have the contact information of the people we know, mostly family members and friends. So even if you can get in touch with some other people, what are you gonna talk about? Hey dude, what the hell is happening? Yeah dude, I don't know. Aliens? Thanos guys, Thanos! From the very moment when the internet goes out, everything existing on the internet is gonna be gone. What's gonna annoy most people the most is actually the lost access to social media. Because, like it or not, social media has become a giant representation of the global human consciousness. Without access to that, a lot of people's anxiety would only signify. But not only that, Wikipedia is gone. All the search engines are gone. We're gonna lose easy access to a lot of human knowledge. We're gonna be well on our way to become dumber and dumber. Because who is reading books these days? Things would happen in parallel. Besides what we mentioned earlier, people who are shopping in physical stores would not be able to buy anything simply because the stores would not be able to perform checkouts as well as processing credit card payments. If you live in a cashless society like China, you won't be able to buy anything, even with cash, simply because most people don't carry cash around with them anymore and they won't be able to pull up the payment code on their phones. A lot of people would lose money instantly. For instance, if you have ordered something online and are waiting for your package to be delivered, you may never receive it. The online shops may have lost your order information already, so the products would never be shipped out. And even if it is shipped out, the delivery companies may have a hard time to sort out all the packages, so your package most likely is gonna end up in some random warehouse or on the street somewhere. People who rely on the internet to perform their jobs like Uber and Lyft drivers, food delivery guys, freelancers on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr are gonna lose their jobs immediately. Not only won't they have a future income, but also some of the money they've earned already but they haven't cashed out yet, they're gonna lose that part as well. Right now, in 2020, the communication between people is only part of what the internet enables us to do. But more than that, the communication between humans and machines, as well as between machines and machines, are actually a very big part of what the internet enables. If the internet goes out, a lot of those crucial infrastructures that rely on the internet are gonna fail. Lots of the modern power grids rely on the sensors placed in different regions to send over information through the internet to help them balance the power supply. If there's no internet, a lot of regions on Earth would be deprived of electricity. When the night comes, the Earth would be a much darker place. Air travel would be disabled, simply because the airline system would not be able to manage flights and people would not be able to purchase tickets. Traffic management on the road would fail as well. It won't take long for the streets to be jammed by cars. Nothing can come through. Financial systems are gonna fail. The stock market would stop performing. Banking systems are gonna stop working as well. While all of this are happening, people are gonna start to realize how serious this is. They're gonna rush to their local banks, try to withdraw as much cash as possible, just in case something happens in the future. But of course, what's gonna wait for them is actually many other people waiting in the line trying to do the same thing. Without the banking system, banks are gonna only be able to work very, very slowly. It would not be surprising for people to wait for days to finally take out some cash, but the amount of money they're gonna receive are gonna be much less than they expected. Without the internet, most companies existing right now would go bankrupt. Lots of people would lose their jobs. The billionaire founders of the internet companies, including the most promising startups as well as most of the tech giants, are gonna lose their billionaire status. But how about the billionaires made their wealth through traditional industries? Well, they're gonna experience a huge impact as well. Not only that, if they have any financial asset that is related to the internet, the value of these assets are gonna shrink significantly, which means their wealth are gonna shrink as well. We're gonna have a lot of people losing a lot of money. All the cryptocurrencies are gonna disappear along with the internet. Now, there are many ongoing debates about which currency is the best for humanity, gold or digital money. In this case, I believe gold money supporters are gonna win. But here's the thing, even if you have a lot of gold on hand right now, what are you gonna do with it when everything is falling apart? Because people with enough money would rush to the supermarkets and try to stock up as many things as possible. But others who have just lost their jobs, without enough money, they won't be able to buy a lot of things. Supermarkets would soon run out of stock. And because all the roads are jammed, new supplies would never arrive on time. We're gonna have a lot of empty shelves very, very soon. When people don't have access to food and money, things will spin out of control very soon. Riots will break out. People are gonna start looting. A lot of innocent people are going to get hurt. Hospitals won't work very efficiently, and roads are blocked, so a lot of wounded people won't even be able to make it to the hospital. We're gonna have disturbing scenes in many, many cities. Now, all of this could happen if only a nation is very dependent on the internet. Well, which is pretty much all the developed countries as well as many developing countries. But what would happen to a nation that doesn't have internet at all? For example, North Korea? Well, while the entire world is burning to the ground, they're gonna stay very stable. Not only that, they're gonna be lurking at the rest of us, and when everything is finished, when there are only a few nations survived and trying to recover, they're gonna scoop in and try to take advantage of the whole situation, try to establish themselves as the new leader of the world. Not long after that, the North Korean propaganda is gonna be dominating the entire world. Great. Whoa, as you might have noticed, the theme of this story is getting darker and darker. And believe me, if something so crucial like the global internet goes out, there will be a lot of chaos appearing in the world. So I'd like to end the story here. It's not just because the story is getting darker, but also because even though I try my best, it's impossible for me to squeeze in all the scenarios that's gonna happen that an internet outage is gonna lead to. And on the other hand, maybe instead of imagining all the scenarios, it's better to ask ourselves a bigger question, which is that, are we really in control of the technologies we developed, or are those technologies controlling us? I will make a video about this in the future. So, until then, I'll see you very soon.